Hey guys, it's Phantom here, and welcome back to a brand new video, everyone, where in today's video, I am going to be ranking the Wizard101 schools. I know, something that I have most definitely done in the past, but in today's video, it's going to be a little bit different, and that is because I am going to be ranking the schools just purely based on how fun they are just to play, in the game as their, each individual respectful schools. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I feel like this list is pretty self-explanatory right here. We got the 7 main schools in the game that you can choose from, at the very start. So anyways, let's just get started here. I mean, we can just start off by going in order here with Balance actually being the first school. Now, this is a really interesting one. I'm just gonna put it in, I'm sorry, dude, this fucking school is my fucking dude. I am going to get a lot of hate for this. Just immediately, right off the bat, let me say that I feel like I am going to get a lot of hate for putting Balance in the motherfucking D tier. But that is really just what it deserves. That is the score that this school has just consistently earned through time with me playing it. I just simply do not enjoy playing Balance remotely, like, at all. The school itself is like, quote unquote balanced. Funny, right? It's quote unquote balanced for like some stats, in the game, such as like health and damage, kind of falls more around like the midline in terms of like all of the schools, which kind of makes sense when you consider, the fact that the school actually is balanced. But dude, it's just like so weak in so many other areas though, because like I'll just say this, the overall damage output of Balance is, I mean, definitely enough to complete the game while you're soloing it. Is it enough for like a, quote unquote fun experience? Not really. I definitely found myself in some of the harder worlds just dying before I could even get like my main hit off on the boss, and hey, maybe that's just like a testament to me being not a very good balance wizard. I'm not really sure, but the school is kind of weak in my opinion. It doesn't have a prism. It's got a lot of these, kind of weird multi-hit spells, whose damage is, like, made up of a bunch of other, like, schools' damage. I'm pretty sure, people kind of know that about Balance. That's not, like, personally something that I really enjoy. I feel like with most of the Balance spells, I would just much rather have it just do, like, flat balance damage, so I'm not just like weak to so many other things, or don't really like have a choice right in the spell that I'm casting, like what type of damage it's gonna do. Like it's gonna do a mixture of elemental magic or spirit magic. Dude, I don't know, man. Like that's always just kind of pissed me off a little bit about all of the balance spells. A lot of those, by the way, a lot of those multi-hit spells are definitely severely underpowered in my opinion, and especially like also the balance spells, the balance spells that kind of have like a chance, right? A lot of them actually have this, a chance to do, a certain school's damage to another enemy, right? And this could be elemental magic, it could be selecting a type of damage from a bunch of different, from like all the different spirit schools. Like I don't really know. The point is, I've always just like had such a big problem with these spells because it's just so stupid to me. Like you're really just gonna like pick a random school and then do that school's damage when, it's not even like taking into account the enemy school or like anything like that. I don't know, playing as a balance wizard has always just been very tricky and annoying to me, and not in a fun way. I do definitely like a good challenge, but balance is just, it doesn't necessarily provide that for me, and it's just not a very good school in general. So I'm gonna leave that at D tier. Wow, I just talked a lot. I felt really bad about my last video being almost 20 minutes, so I'm definitely going to try to keep this one to like 15, maybe less, but we're not doing a great job, so let's just go ahead and get a move on here. Death, I mean, I think this one is just like super easy. I think this one is just super easy, right? You almost thought I was gonna put it in A, but no. Death is definitely an S tier school. This school is just absolutely excellent in almost every single way. They get a decent amount of health. I mean, like not a ton, but a decent amount, definitely more than enough, right? Their spells heal back damage. I mean, I think that's one of the most obvious takeaways of Death and just like why it's so good, right? Spells take away damage. The school itself actually does like a decent amount of damage, and it's got some pretty cool like utility spells in its arsenal as well. just being a death wizard, I'm not gonna lie, is just super fucking fun. And all death wizards will know this. Anyone who's like soloed on a death wizard, you literally just throughout the course of the game, you just don't fucking die. Like you you just literally cannot die because you have so many spells that are so good at doing a ton of damage and then healing you back for half of that damage, which is usually going to turn out to be just a lot of healing, just so much healing, you know, to the point where blah blah blah, you know, you hit, it heals you fully, you finish most battles with full health, which is extremely nice as a death wizard. And honestly, it's not even like a boring experience. I think the school is definitely OP, but when you're questing throughout the game, I wouldn't say it necessarily feels OP. It's more so just like kind of nice. You know, it's kind of nice to just get all that health back after battle and just go immediately into your next quest, right? And of course the school is it's just super strong, and yeah, it just does all of that super well. The death school is absolutely amazing, and I am gonna go ahead and leave it in S tier for now. Alright, so, I mean, there's the death school, right? Like, one of the most fun schools in this game, 100%. Maybe even the most fun school. But next up, we got fire, though. Next up, we are going to go ahead and rank my personal favorite school of fire. And I'm going to go ahead and stick it in A tier. I think that this is definitely a pretty good spot for, you know, I've thought about this a little bit before I started the recording here. But fire is definitely a really fun school to play. And I don't think that many people are going to argue with me. Right, the school itself is definitely super offensive, just leans super heavily right into the offensive stats, which makes for pretty quick work against your enemies. You know, usually as a fire wizard, you are going to be, especially when you get into later levels, you are going to be, you know, finishing battles really quickly. You get your, this is earlier in the game, but you get your first AoE, I think you get it at like level 22 or something, which is, you know, super good for the school. You get, I believe it's Meteor, and that, you know, kind of carries you through a lot of the game until you get like Fire Dragon and, you know, Bull and whatnot. But like Fire, it has so much going for it right now. I've mentioned this in a previous video, but Fire is like if Storm was kind of just like better, you know, like a school that could output a lot of damage really quickly and still has decent health, which, you know, of course Storm lacks and Fire actually has. Fire actually, you know, does get like a decent amount of health. I mean, it's not too much when you look at like the likes of Life or Ice, but Fire, it definitely gets enough. You know, it's got enough health, just a ton of damage, and a lot of enjoyable spells to cast. And just overall make for a really fun, you know, wizarding school experience, man. Like Fire is so awesome. Like, oh my god, dude. And it's not even, I don't know, it's weird. Like Fire for me too didn't really get stale, like at all whatsoever. Like just while playing the game, you know, I never got bored of it, and maybe that is just kind of a testament to how much I love the school as a whole. But Fire, it's definitely really fun to play. You should definitely give it a try if you haven't already. Alright, next up here, we've got the School of Ice. This one is a really interesting one. I've had a lot of unique experiences with my Ice Wizard and solo questing on him and leveling him up. And this might actually surprise some people, but I'm going to go ahead and put Ice in the B tier. I don't think that it is a terribly unfun school, and I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, maybe I just kind of like the sort of, you know, offensive challenge that the Ice School, you know, poses for anyone like wishing to undertake it. You know, like the Ice School, it obviously lacks severely, right, in damage. That's kind of the reason, right, for the whole offensive struggle that it has. But for some reason, while questing throughout the game, I don't actually mind this too much as an Ice Wizard. You know, I like the amount of, I really like the amount of health and defense that you actually do get as an Ice Wizard. I think that those stats, you know, they're definitely super useful to pump up, and it's cool that Ice Wizards, you know, kind of get so much of it as they just go through questing. And yeah, so I obviously like all those aspects about Ice, the health and the resistance and all that. And then, you know, when it gets to damage, I find that I just don't really care that much when I'm questing on an Ice Wizard. Like, I am perfectly fine with just blading a shit ton so I can actually get some damage out on the enemy, right? I'm perfectly okay with doing that and making up for a lack of damage as long as like I myself don't die, right? And that's like kind of where the defensive stats come in as like an ice wizard. You're still probably rarely going to die just because you have so much health and resist. Like it kind of is like that crazy as an ice wizard, especially health. Like you get an absolute crap ton of health. And I don't know why, but there's actually something like kind of semi, enjoyable about just blading up a bunch and, just setting up an absolutely brilliant attack on that enemy, right? Just as an ice wizard. I don't know. I've kind of enjoyed the process. I don't think it's nearly as fun as like fire or death, just two really, really strong, fun schools. But ice is definitely, I think it's definitely up there though. I think it's definitely up there in terms of schools, and definitely better than the ones down here. And oh boy, are there going to be more schools down there. Also, I just realized that my webcam is blocking the tier list, so yeah, I'm going to move up here. I'm going to move to hopefully the like top right section of the video or something like that. But anyways, speaking of schools though, in these lower levels here, we've got the School of Life, everyone. Give it up for the School of Life, earning a nice C tier spot on this list. Now, listen, all I've got to say for all of you life lovers out there, all right, I did a walkthrough on this school. Now, granted, that walkthrough only covered about a third of the levels in this game, but still, I think I've gotten a pretty good idea about the School of Life, and actually, I did quest him up to a lot higher levels. I've gotten my Life Wizard up to like level 100 by now, so even though I haven't gotten like that max level experience as like a life questing through the game, I mean, I've definitely gone through like a lot of it, and most of it solo. So yeah, School of Life right here is in C tier. I really don't love playing as this school, and honestly, I am not super sure why, because if I'm just kind of looking at it like objectively here, life kind of parallels ice in a lot of the same ways, in like a lot of problems that I kind of like have with ice, in that it just doesn't do that much damage. Like life doesn't really do enough damage for me, and the game just kind of goes a bit slower naturally. You gotta kind of play a bit slower to sort of make up for that a bit and kind of ensure that you don't die. But I mean, with life, that is super easy though. That is definitely easy. That is definitely one thing that I do like about life, and why it's not in just the absolute fucking D tier here with balance, right? You can actually heal yourself. The survivability is pretty insane on a life wizard. I just think that the overall schooling experience just isn't very fun. Like life, it just I don't know, dude. There's something like not very rewarding about just getting like a healing spell at the end of the day for all of your hard work as a live wizard, just not doing that much damage. And I'm honestly really not sure, guys. I'm really not sure why I like the ice questing experience better, because here you have two schools that just don't do that much damage, right? And they both have a lot of health though. They both have a lot of health. I guess ice has like a little bit better defense than life for sure, because obviously life has healing. But like, yeah, something about questing life, it just doesn't sit quite right with me. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure at all. It's not a problem with like the aesthetics or anything of it all. I don't know, but what I can really say though at the end of the day is questing as a life wizard has kind of provided me with just like a kind of slow questing experience, kind of similar to ice. But yeah, overall just less fun in my opinion. And I mean, you guys are obviously free to share all of your opinions in the comments down below. By the way, that is definitely something that you should do if you are still watching this video. But yeah, anyways, with all that being said though, let's move on to Myth. The Myth School. Oh my god, is this school hot. So anyways, A tier. Yeah, definitely gonna be A tier for Myth right here. Definitely. I'm just so happy that I actually decided to make a Myth Wizard just like all those few years ago and actually get him to max level, although I guess he's not technically max level anymore with the release of Lemuria. But I did actually quest, a Myth up to max, last year back then when Caramel was the only world in the 4th arc, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I got a Myth Wizard to level 140. It was a great experience, okay? I have to say, it was such a great experience leveling up this Myth character. I absolutely just adore Myth as a school, and I know I've said this in my previous school ranking video, but Myth seems like it's like the most perfectly balanced school. And I'm sorry, balance, but it's true. Like Myth, it just Oh my god, it's not too OP, first of all. None of its stats kind of, none of its stats kind of like outshine others. It has like decent defense, definitely decent damage. Myth Wizards can actually like have quite a bit of damage, right? Decent damage, it's got just decent health overall, and the spells are just good, man. The spells that Myth gets, they're just good, and it's just an overall really, really well-rounded school that is just super fun to play as, because like you don't feel like you're just stomping on everyone, right? Like just over and over again while playing like as a Myth Wizard, but you're definitely not like having a too difficult time with things to the point where the game is just kind of like less enjoyable. That's the middle ground that Myth hits, like just constantly. I will just forever appreciate the school for that. It is honestly on par with how fun it is. It's on par with Fire, in my opinion. That is how much I love questing, as a Myth Wizard, and I can't wait to do it more in the future. That's it. Last and most certainly least is going to be the School of Storm. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this sucker in D tier right here. Guys, this school, like, I'm sorry. This ranking right here is going to piss a lot of people off, and that's my hope. I hope it does. I hope that you are angry right now watching this video. That is bringing me immense joy, and I really can't thank you enough. Alright, no, but seriously though, why the actual F is the School of Storm in D tier? How could he do this to us? How could he do this to all of our Kyle Storms and Wolf Stormblades? Like, it's just, listen. The School of Storm, I'm not going to lie, might be actually, okay, it's not the most boring school in the game. I'm going to give that to Balance. I'm sorry, like, it just balances. Jesus Christ, I feel decrepit whenever I play it. But no, the School of Storm, though, is a really, really boring school. It's not fun to play at all whatsoever. Now, that's not to say that it isn't one of the better schools in the game. I still definitely think that it is. Storm Wizards are insanely powerful, and nothing really is ever going to change that. Now, is the school fun to play, though? Is it enjoyable to quest through as a Storm? Not really. Not really. I mean, can you kill your enemies pretty quickly? Like, yeah, if you have a friend or two, helping you along, can you guys, like, absolutely power through the game? Like, yes, you can. Storm is a very, very strong school. But it's so much, like, rinse and repeat. Just, like, blade hit, blade feint hit. I mean, like, it's a lot of that, and you could argue that you do this with, like, all of the other schools, and I mean, like, you're technically right, like, that is kind of just, like, how the game is played, right? Blade, feint, hit. But the School of Storm, I feel like it's taken it to an extent where, like, just playing a battle just becomes so formulaic to the point where it's like, okay, like, I'm going to select this Stormblade, and then I'm going to cast it, and then I'm going to have my enchants, and I'm going to enchant my Stormlord, and I'm going to hit, and then that's all I'm going to pack in my deck, like, at all. It's just, like, there's so much of that. That's basically just the entirety of the game as you go through it, and that's not, like, super enjoyable to me. It's brainless to an extent where, like I said, it kind of just goes to the detriment of, like, the overall fun of the school, if that makes sense. So yeah, anyways, though, that is my ranking right here. Kind of a weird ranking, honestly, but I like it. It's good. It's my ranking, you know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, though. I definitely want to know which schools you guys think is the most fun. Storm or Balance mains, have I pissed any of you off? Also, let me know in the comments down below. I would very much appreciate that as well. And make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. So many of you are not subscribed to the channel. It's actually crazy. I think it's like 15% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, and then, like, the other fucking 85% of you fuckers aren't. So that's just, I mean, that's really cool and all. But regardless, I hope you did enjoy, and I will see you in the next one, in the next video or stream, whenever that may be. So take care, guys, and peace out.